doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, good.
Christian, have you done anything differently this offseason to prepare your body for this year?
Yeah, this offseason was unique for me just because I've been out since October. So it was the longest span of time that I've had to really just kind of revamp my body. First, it was recovering from the collarbone, and then once I was healed from that, it was really just getting back down to the basics and just rebuilding my body to be able to sustain a 17-game season and onto the playoffs. So health-wise, I feel great. Since I've been here, I've gotten bigger, stronger, and faster, and it's starting to show up on the field. So just really excited with where I'm at physically.
Christian, on the Nick Daly offense, a lot of guys from New England talk about the amount of knowledge the receivers need to have to make adjustments and doing quarterback, seeing things
Sure.
from the defense. How fun is that? Because it is a bit of a chess match, and you're not just like, okay, we're on post. You're making changes on the fly. That's all about an offense.
Yeah, they definitely put a lot on your plate at the receiver position, especially as playing F, who's the adjuster in the offense. You really have to know a lot, and coverage dictates a lot, and the run game and the pass game, and so it's just getting on the same page and seeing it through the same lens that CJ sees it. And the quicker we can both see the same thing at the same time, and even the other receivers, the better we're going to be. So we challenge ourselves in our room. Ben does a great job of just growing our football IQ so we can just play fast in this offense.
What is the process of developing that chemistry with CJ Stroud?
Yeah, I think it's just coming out with a plan each and every day, and if we miss something, communicating what either of us could have done differently, and then either get it off to the side the next day at practice or later that day in practice. I think it's just evolving communication. It's one thing that me and him really talked about is yet we haven't had a ton of time to be able to connect and whatnot. It's just the constant talking and hey, did you like that? What would you prefer? Did you see this? Did you see that? Because like I just mentioned, it's just getting on the same page and seeing it through the same lens.
How integral have you been in helping rookie Jalen Noel slow the game down day by day?
Yeah, Jalen's already ahead of the curve just with the way he prepares and who he is as a person and as a player. Like I said, he prepares really well. He's smart, and so for him, it's just going out there and playing fast, which I struggle with as a rookie. There's a lot of stuff going on, especially this defense. They play fast. They give you a lot of looks. So, I just try to give him little tidbits here and there. If I see something that he can improve or something that I've done in the past that works, I'm always going to try to give it to him because, I want to see him excel. He's going to have a great career in this league and make a lot of plays for us.
What did you think about Nico Collins before you got here versus being on the field during the offseason, on the field here these last 4 days, in the room with him?
Yeah, he's a beast. I mean, playing against him and seeing what he's done from afar, his career path has just accelerated the past couple years, and being out here in the room with him and on the field with him, it all makes sense. The thing I appreciate most about him is he's a selfless guy. He's just out there. He wants to see everybody else do well, and when you're a player like that, good things are going to come for you. And he never shies away from the big moment and always makes the big plays when you need it. So he's been really impressive to work with, and I'm excited to keep going this season.
Has there been any similarities in this offense compared to any of the offenses you played in before? And how has that maybe helped you to teach on the field to the other guys?
Yeah, I think with just what we're able to do personnel-wise, going from 12 to 11 personnel, being able to move guys around in an offense, that's something that, I've done in the past and I really enjoy, not just me playing in the slot and Nico being outside by himself, putting Nico in the slot sometimes, putting Hutch in the slot, putting Jay, just moving guys around and dictating, the defense with, formation and motion, I think is the best way to operate as an offense. And Nick has done a great job of, being able to install that so far and putting us at a spot where we can keep on evolving. So that's one of the things that I really, enjoy and that I've done in the past. It's helped me so far. Yeah, I think it's coming along great, and like I said, it just starts with the communication. But banking reps like those, that's a real rep. That's a rep that we'll probably see at some point, on a Sunday here in the season, and we'll be able to go back to that and be on the same page. That if he plays outside leverage low like that, I'm going to take it over the top, and he's got to put a ball with touch and we were able to complete it. So, those are just reps that you got to bank, and, it'll pay off down in the season.
A lot of people when they ask about you, the first thing they say is about the person who you are. What's the basis of the foundation?
It's funny. I was actually thinking about that the other day. My dad always told me that, one day people are going to forget Christian Kirk, the football player, but they'll never forget Christian Kirk, the person. And so I always try to leave a lasting impact with who I am as a person and how I treat you when we engage. And, I just want people to, when they walk away or have, an interaction with me, to say that's a good guy, that's a good teammate, and a good person. And then a good football player can come last, because my playing days won't last forever. But, me as a person, I have a lot more life to live, and I just want to spread humility and be a good person on this earth.
Part of the business is moving around team to team. How would you kind of describe the adjustment and transition, whether it's personally or just going from your organization to now Houston? What is that like?
It's a lot, to be honest with you. My transition from Arizona to Jacksonville was the first time I did it, and first time you got to pick up and pack up everything and move to a new city. You don't know where the closest gas station is. You don't know what exit you take to work, where you're going to park. I mean, it's just a lot of external things. And, moving here to Houston, having a newborn, moving my family out here, making sure everybody's comfortable has definitely added, some extra, variables outside of football. But honestly, I can't say enough about how helpful everybody in the organization has been. I mean, anything that I brought up, they've been so quick to respond and help me out. So it's really been a blessing to have them, just help me transition and be able to focus on football.
To that point, in what ways have they helped you? There's an issue point to like that really helped you out.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's like for example, in OTAs, because my wife was pregnant, she had doctor's appointments every week. So the Texans helped fly me back and forth, every weekend, just so I can go see my wife on the weekend, make sure she's good, and then come back here and be ready to go on Monday. So just little things like that just really meant a lot to me, because I got to be there during that process, a special moment in my personal life, but, also be here and, learn the foundation that we're building here.
How have the early days of fatherhood been?
They've been great. Thank goodness for my mother-in-law. She's been helping us out here. My wife's a superstar, so she's been, just a trooper through it all. But being able to wake up and see my daughter every day, I'd say life makes sense now. Just being able to look into her eyes and, really have, a why, to going to work and, being able to provide and support for, your child. First one. Yes, sir. Yeah. It's been really special. Texas was always really special to my family and I, just because of my time at Texas A&M, and I just love the spirit of Texas. I love how much football matters in this state, and I love that I get to run into a lot of former Aggies around Houston and be able to represent accordingly. Awesome. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.